What's going on, everybody? It's Robert here with Common Sense Podcast Radio. With me today I have Rachel and Brian. And today we're going to talk about some entertainment headlines and then get into a little bit of Star Wars stuff. So first here, with our first headline, comicbook.com is reporting that Wreck-It Ralph 2 has been announced for a March 9th, 2018 release. I don't know about you guys, but I was a pretty big fan of the first one. I liked how
Wreck-It Ralph was fun.
Yeah, I mean, they introduced the whole idea of video games and a life, that they have lives, which I really enjoyed. The only one that they didn't really get in there was Super Mario, so I'm kind of hoping they throw him into this one. I think that'd be pretty cool.
They probably ran into licensing issues and stuff.
Yeah, and Nintendo probably wanted to see how well the movie was received before doing anything. I mean, they barely got Sonic in there, so Sega was even a little hesitant in using their...
I think it was more about the arcade experience. Was Super Mario really like an arcade
it
kind of thing?
off as an arcade in Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
As Jumpman, so... Yeah, and again, but I mean, technically, if you kind of think about it, though, I mean, Wreck-It Ralph was kind of like a Jumpman, Donkey Kong type of ripoff, if you think about it.
Yeah, they probably just didn't have the rights to use Mario Brothers.
Probably. Let's see. Also, comicbookmovie.com, they are reporting, as well as many other sites, that Tom Felton, the guy who played Draco Malfoy in the Harry Potter films, has joined Flash for Season 3 as a series regular. The little description they have of him is here. Now, Barry Allen, who is the Flash in the TV show, is slightly older, slightly geekier.
You watch that show, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
I think I caught like one episode.
Well, here, let me finish this off here real quick. Barry Allen is slightly older, slightly geekier contemporary, a guy who is as smart as he is intuitive. As such, this newcomer doesn't buy Barry's nice guy routine and sets out to learn what he is hiding, all while concealing some secrets of his own. I am a big fan of The Flash. It might be my favorite TV show on right now, probably in my top 5 of all time. And I think this is a great casting choice. I'm curious as to whether he's going to be the new villain, or if he's going to be, a sidekick of some sort. Neither of you watched the show, which I highly recommend you both watch the show. And I know, Rachel, you're a Marvel girl. Doesn't mean that you can't enjoy DC.
I understand that. I understand that fully and completely. I grew up mostly on Marvel. I did watch like Batman, the animated series as a kid and stuff like that. But I think that if he did play a villain, I'd probably watch it.
Well,
I don't even care. I'd jump right in.
Thinking about him, look at what he played in Harry Potter, and I'm sure they're kind of taking that idea and bringing it to the Flash. Then again, he may be trying to change
get out of that. Yeah,
change up what he is and how he's perceived as an actor. I don't know. Either way, I think it's a great get because people are going to recognize him. It's going to draw some more fans to The Flash, which has already been getting great ratings. So I'm looking forward to it. And again, I know season 1's on. I believe season 1 is on Netflix right now. You got to check it out. I'm telling you, Brian, especially you. I know you're a fan of things like that. I think you'd really enjoy it.
I'll check it out. I have to at some point.
No, you have to, absolutely.
And then maybe I'll
check it out.
Maybe I'll be like one of them people that binge watch the episodes, and then I'll come at you like a crazy fiend. I was watching The Flash.
It's funny because the director, podcast actor Kevin Smith, he pretty much did that same thing. He was putting it off for months. He just wouldn't watch it.
I do that with a lot of shows.
He didn't watch the first episode or the first season at all. And his buddy Jason Mewes was like, "Hey, you need to check this out. King Shark is on." So finally, he decided to watch it, and he became completely obsessed with it. He made a video of him watching the season finale of season 1, and he was just bawling his eyes out. And it just got so much recognition that this past season he ended up directing an episode.
He cried.
Oh yeah, I did too. Not afraid to admit. Bawled like a little baby.
Bawling your eyes out.
There you go, Bobbert.
Hey, that's what this show does. I mean, it grabs on all the right heartstrings and
tickles your jollies.
It's an excellent show. I'll tell you that right now.
Hey, if it makes you cry, I gotta watch it.
Definitely.
And I can make fun of you for crying about it.
Exactly.
Oh, boy.
What else you got there?
Polygon.com has reported that Pacific Rim 2 has an official release date of February 23rd, 2018. Stephen S. DeKnight will be the director. He has worked on Spartacus as well as the Netflix TV show Daredevil. And it will star John Boyega, who most recently was in Star Wars The Force Awakens.
Did you see that shot in Star Wars where he's first on the ship and his lips are all glistening and wet? Come on. What's going on? They do that a lot. They do that a lot in movies with blacks. Like, they make them wear dresses and stuff. He just seems like he had some dick-sucking lips in that clip.
All right. Well, before we get into The Force Awakens, because that's what we're definitely going to get into today is The Force Awakens, there's some other Star Wars news out there. The first one, I'm going to go back to comicbookmovie.com, and they got an excerpt from Ian McCaig. He states that the Han Solo movie has by far been the best Star Wars script and one of the best Star Wars scripts ever, or it's one of the best scripts ever, period. He recently revealed after being asked about how the movie is shaping up. He said he laughed, he cried, he did all the things you should do when reading a good script. He said that you're in for a treat. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of hesitant on being excited for the Han Solo movie.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Rogue One looks phenomenal. I mean,
Rogue One looks awesome, so awesome. Just like the whole thing. Them getting the plans. Yeah, having they're probably going to do like the gun and run through the trenches of the Death Star. I mean, what else could go on here? Who is the guy in the white cape? What's Darth Vader doing? Is the Emperor involved? Where's Snoke at? What's that guy doing?
Well, let's not forget. I mean, the Han Solo movie. I mean, the guy that they picked to play young Han Solo, Aldine Ehrenreich. He's got large shoes to fill. Whether you're a fan of Harrison Ford or not, he completely owned the role of Han Solo. So, I mean, he's got big shoes to fill. Besides that, that's the only...
I'm just worried about Disney destroying this franchise.
I don't think they will. I mean, look what they did with the Avengers.
I mean, you got a good point there. I mean, they did well with the Marvel product and marketing it, but there's some people that feel that the Marvel product is starting to get a little stale.
A little bit. I agree, but I think once the Infinity Wars come, we're going to be like, oh my god, shit my pants.
It just seems like there's like a overload of that type of product. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. But getting back with the Han Solo film, again, it's going to star Aldine Ehrenreich and is directed by Chris Miller and Phil Lord, who...
I mean, I'm going to go see it anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Maybe that translate wrong to them when they go and decide which movies to make, because they're just looking at the dollar.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that's all they care about. If we're going to see them, we're still going to see these movies. They're going to keep making them.
Oh yeah, that's.
I'm not saying that the Han Solo movie is going to be shit or anything like that. But what's going on in Han Solo's world? What's he going to do? He's going to just be like a drug smuggler or something? He's going to run into adventures and run from borders and temples.
What's going on here? Spice. He's a spice smuggler, and
weed, marijuana. He's a drug smuggler. Come on. What kind of spice is Jabba smoking there?
I think they're really looking at trying to get his backstory, because if you know much about him, he was part of the Empire at one time. He was a stormtrooper. So I think they're going to kind of go into that idea and explore that.
What if Han Solo was like a secret clone?
Okay, that's a little out there, but... it's a possibility. It could go that way. However...
it's not that out there. Come on.
However...
come on, man.
The screenwriter is Lawrence Kasdan and John Kasdan, Lawrence Kasdan's son. Lawrence Kasdan obviously wrote Empire Strikes Back as well as The Force Awakens. So, that's what we're going to see, something similar to one of those two movies showing up for the Han Solo film. And again, it's directed by Chris Miller and Phil Lord, who directed the Lego movie. So keep that in mind. Now, I know Rachel was talking about Rogue, or I don't know if it was Rachel, but I think, it was you a little bit ago talking about Rogue One. And there was a bunch of reshoots that happened not too long ago, and there's a big misconception that, this film is in danger because they had to do all these reshoots. And for some reason, this past couple months, it's been a big issue, because not only did Star Wars Rogue One have to do some reshoots, but so did DC Suicide Squad. They did some reshoots a few months back, and people were freaking out like this is something new.
That's normal.
Every movie sets aside time to do reshoots.
I thought the reason why Suicide Squad was getting some reshoots is because they were saying that they wanted it to be a little bit more darker.
No, it's actually
the opposite. Or they were
trying
to tone it down.
They were trying to make it a little more happy, a little more funny. That's what the rumor was coming out. Okay. But with Suicide Squad, I think by the time they said they were doing those reshoots, it was already done and over with, and it's
probably trying to get that PG-13 rating.
Yeah, well, I think they already got the PG-13 rating.
Can we get an R-rated Star Wars movie?
That would be kind of nice.
It's like, Jesus, please.
With how Deadpool turned out, I mean, that was pretty cool. R-rated movie.
Deadpool had to be rated R. There was no way that they could have made a Deadpool movie that was not rated R, and I think that was a big thing. And again, Deadpool kind of set the way, or started to pave the way for comic book movies to be rated R, because the new one.
When you think about Star Wars movies, like, they have a lightsaber, and you're getting slashed with a lightsaber. Like, I want to see, like, battlefield gore. Like, I want to see a Star Wars war movie.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
And definitely get into that in another episode. I definitely want to go over the prequel episodes at some point and how they could have been made better. I have great ideas that I think would have made them better. Obviously, I'm sure everybody has their own
ideas. I think a 2-year-old would have better.
But we can get into that in another episode, and that kind of leads to your tone you're looking for, Brian. But
yeah, I definitely want gritty, darker. I want to see our beloved heroes losing their lives, like, have that investment, and then bang, it doesn't pay off in the end. Like, oh man, and it's just, that's really, like, for me, that's what makes movies good, because you have that big investment, that emotional investment, and bang, it's gone,
Yeah.
And it's gone.
But no, as I was saying, Deadpool has paved the way for comic book movies to be rated R. The next Wolverine movie, which everybody believes will be Hugh Jackman's final stint as the Wolverine, will be rated R. So they're going in that direction now. Good. So I think people are going to be a little happier because of that. I don't know if they'll ever get to the point where Star Wars will be rated R, but never.
They need at least one.
You never know.
One film, please, Disney. Just one film. Just
Well, it's Disney, so it ain't gonna happen.
He's got to sell his toys.
The next story, like I said,
merchandise.
It's kind of a Star Wars heavy episode that we're talking about here, but the next story here is Mace Windu still alive? And an interview with what's his name? Samuel Jackson, that's his name. This week, he said that he spoke with George Lucas and said, that he wanted Mace Windu to be alive, and George Lucas said, "Sure, then he's alive." His reason behind it. It's pretty much what happened. You can actually find that interview on ScreenRant.com, by the way. But it's funny because his reasoning is like, look, Jedi can fall from high places. There's other Jedi who get their arms cut off. If I can survive, why can't I survive Darth Vader and Darth Sidious? So I mean, he kind of has a point. I think it would be actually kind of interesting to see him survive and maybe have him show up not in a future like episodic Star Wars film, but be it in the Star Wars Rebels TV show or, in one of the anthology films or Star Wars story films that they're making, like maybe even the rumored Obi-Wan Kenobi film. That could be pretty cool that he shows up there.
I think Obi-Wan Kenobi would be awesome.
That should be rated R.
No, that's
And him,
rated R.
and like there's so many adventures that he went on with Anakin, and then he had what was his trainer?
Qui-Gon Jinn?
Yeah, Qui-Gon Jinn. Like, what did they get into?
See, I'm more looking for an Obi-Wan story that takes place between Episode 3 and 4.
And we can go back to
That's what I'm looking
when
for.
the Republic was at its height, and the golden age of the Republic, and all that. Like, and that would be like such a spectacular Star Wars universe. And they can have all the different trade blocks and all the different kingdoms before it was destroyed, before the Great Clone War. Like, there's so much stuff that can happen in Star Wars. Like, why
And I think they're going to. I
focus
think
on
they're
the main
going.
heroes? Like, we know about the main heroes. We want to know about these different characters.
And I think that's what they're exploring with these anthology films. Rogue One. I mean, we heard
Yeah,
in the
Rogue
main.
One is key. That's going to be great.
Exactly. We heard in the main story about the Death Star plans being stolen, but that's about it. Now we're going to see how they stole them and where they got them and how everything took place.
How do you think the Death Star pitch went? Like, they got all the Empire guys together. See, we're going to make this moon, right? It's going to have a big laser built in
Well,
it.
if you remember in
How do
Episode
you think they sold
2,
that?
Episode 2, they already had the plans created, and by the end of Episode 3, it was already being built. So just keep that in mind that there was
Did you
really
see
no
the
pitch.
scaled picture of the first Death Star versus the second Death Star?
Yeah,
And how much larger it was?
yeah, it was much larger. much,
It's
much
like,
larger.
wow, that's a lot of man hours there.
But with that said,
on.
I don't mind if Mace Windu is alive or not. I know some people are freaking out about it, but obviously, being a Star Wars fan, I'm open to anything that the book wasn't
Yeah,
officially
I'm not
closed
against
on. I'm
it.
open up to everything.
Oh.
So, that's pretty much all the headlines that I'm going to go over today. But I want to get into our next big topic. A few days ago, Brian and I were kind of just having a regular conversation, and Brian decided to state that he had a very different opinion than I do on the newest Star Wars film, The Force Awakens. He doesn't like it.
I feel like it's parody. I really do. Well, not only just a parody, but I just think that with the politics, social politics and stuff, and how they had to fit in certain characters and this and that, and they probably faced so many rewrites that it just seemed like they were fucking around. Or messing around. Sorry, guys. Messing around. All right.
I don't... I
Like in the beginning, like the opening clip, they have the ship going in front of the sun, and it's a giant middle finger.
I don't know
Just
about
rewatch the
that.
movie.
I
And just see a
trust me,
big
I've
middle
seen
finger
it.
in your face.
I've seen it enough. It's not a middle finger in your face.
It's definitely a middle
No,
finger.
if you look at it, if you look at the film, they basically, and I hate that I have to say it like this because I don't fully agree with this idea of The Force Awakens,
Why is Finn?
but
Why is he all like
let me
PTSD'd out? He didn't even see
Hold on, let
combat
me get-
service yet. He
let
didn't
me-
even kill anybody.
let me get to your first point.
All right, I'll let you go. Come
Your
on.
first point about the ship in the beginning, it's almost the mirror image of what happened in Star Wars: A New Hope.
Yeah,
You know, just the opposite angle. In the first movie, in Star Wars: A New Hope, it comes from above, and comes over top of us. And this,
J.J.
we're
Abrams
underneath
is
of it,
no
and it
big
comes
deal.
underneath of us. So,
He's a
that's...
mediocre director that fell into that position.
I mean, I think he's a bit higher than mediocre. I think he's a good director.
And if Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens is a reboot, why don't they just say it's a freaking reboot and not call it Episode 7?
Because it's not a reboot. Because it's a continuation of the original story.
You could have fooled me.
It's not a reboot.
I'm just not happy with it. I'm sorry, guys, if you're listening and you're saying like, "Ah, man, Episode 7 was awesome." Like, I'm not trying to take that away from you, but as me being hypercritical of films that I do love, like I enjoyed Episode 7. I did, but there's things in there that get under my skin, and there's little things, and it's like this whole thing with Kylo Ren and his mask, and it's like Darth Vader didn't start out that way. he didn't just don a mask because he thought it looked cool or because they needed to sell action figures. Like, George Lucas made his films because he wanted to tell a good story and not just sell action figures, you know? Like, just that the whole marketing thing, I feel like it's a big money drain. Like, Disney is just a bunch of vampires, and it basically just destroyed the what was good about Star Wars.
I don't believe that. I think they did an excellent job with the movie. They knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, the visuals were spectacular, no doubt. I'm not saying that.
The story, I thought,
story
was very
lacking.
strong. I think it was very
The story
strong.
was lacking.
I, however, am not a big fan of how everything J.J. Abrams touches, there has to be mystery to it.
Like how they wedged Han Solo and Chewbacca in there. Like, they could have just like had a flashback of Han Solo being killed early on while Luke was training him or something.
Flashbacks.
He couldn't control himself, or something like wow. Like, what was that?
Flashbacks
Just
aren't
like
a
1
Star
second
Wars
thing, and everybody would be talking about that 1 second of Han Solo being killed. But no, they have this whole scene, and it's like some homage to Raiders of the Lost Ark or something.
Where he's being chased by...
Yeah, and it's got the ball going through the halls, this alien thing, and it's like, you know what? Like, I just feel insulted. I don't know.
I see. I didn't mind that. I like little nods to different movies, and J.J. Abrams did it a whole bunch. Whether it was with the TIE fighters flying in front of the sun, copying Apocalypse Now,
It's all flooded. Like, it just seemed like it lacked originality.
Well, I mean, the Marvel films are making like little notes and hints towards, the Star Wars movie with everybody getting their hand chopped off.
Yeah, in Phase 1, yeah.
Yeah.
Phase
pretty
1,
much.
There was a hand cut off in every single film, wasn't
Well, they
it?
just see how popular
I think so.
combined universes, and like you look at all the Pixar movies and how they're all
It's just
supposed
something
to
to build
intertwined.
excitement, though.
It just seems like they're trying to reproduce that, and they're forcing it, and it's like, you know what? That's Pixar's thing. Leave it to Pixar to do their combined universe. You don't got to do it with everything else.
But they're not combining the universe of Star Wars with Indiana Jones or Apocalypse Now. It's just a little nod, like, hey, I liked this scene from Apocalypse Now. And that's what film directors do. They take a look at other films that they've seen, and they say, you know what? I liked that. I want to use that at some point. And that's what they do. They use it in their own way in the film that they're making. And it makes sense. It's not like
I
none
think
of
it
this
says a
stuff makes
lot
sense.
about the director.
I think it's mostly of like a nod your head to them, like, this movie was awesome to me and it inspired me. So I want to give them like a thank you in a way.
You got to remember, J.J. Abrams is a product of Steven Spielberg. I mean, he worked with Spielberg back in the 80s. He eventually became a writer. J.J. Abrams' first writing gig was a Harrison Ford film called Regarding Henry, which is an excellent movie, by the way, if you've never watched it. But, and then
It'd be like if I repainted the Mona Lisa and gave her like I don't know, dyed hair or tattoos on her arm or something.
No, that's not.
Like saying that it was great.
That's not it at all. No.
It's a parody. It's a parody.
It's not a parody
of other movies.
That's what you're saying. It is. It's not a
That's
parody.
what it seems like. I'm convinced of it.
But it's not. That's the problem. That you need to realize that it's not a parody. All those little things that happen throughout the movie, that's just J.J. Abrams saying, you know what, I like this, I like this, I like this, and it fits in with the movie.
It was just one big inside joke.
See, now, if you would have said, if the first thing you would have said is I think it was an inside joke because of what the first line of the movie was, then I might be able to get that.
A lot of stuff going on.
But,
and you see like little nods and half smirks on the actors' faces when they're saying their lines, and even they're making fun of Kylo Ren and how they can't understand him under the mask, and you see it a lot in movies. And now that I pointed out, I feel like if you go back and watch Episode 7, it's going to be ruined for you. So
not at all. I watched it probably 50, 60 times already, and I'm not.
We're going to have to do on the couch episode, like Mystery Science Theater.
Oh, we definitely are going to have to do.
We'll watch episode 7, and I'll just ruin episode 7 for you.
What we'll definitely do, we'll get together and we will sit there and do commentary on episode 7. I have no problem
maybe I'm just
doing
too
that.
critical, and we grew up with Star Wars in its golden age before 1, 2,
Yeah.
3 came out, and it wasn't. We didn't see it like the new re-released with all the CGI, and we just saw it in its, I guess you want to call it the raw form. Before there was all this stuff going out, and Bobby didn't even have like original toys and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I still have all.
Yeah,
that
you had like the
stuff,
original stuff, and we grew up and we got to experience it before the Lucas and Disney money-making machine came in. And I mean, yeah, there was already a bunch of merchandise out there because it is a beloved film, and it was geared towards children. But we got to experience before all that happened.
Right.
So maybe that's where I'm coming from, and I'm just being.
I don't know, because I mean,
stay off my lawn, and clouds are bad.
I mean, there was bound to be backlash because it's not George Lucas. And believe it or not, there were so many people back in the day that were like, "Oh, George Lucas has to keep his hands off." I think it's a lot of those people.
He wrote such a great mythology with Star Wars. It's such a great story.
It's true, it is. But I think that's what some people are upset about. Oh, this isn't George Lucas's movie. This isn't what he.
It didn't even feel like a Star Wars movie. Like how George Lucas lingers with those shots of the landscape and it's just ambient. The movie completely lacked that feel.
Well, first off, you have to remember that
It
George
looked
Lucas,
like a Star Wars. It was like a counterfeit
original
Star Wars movie.
Well, you're talking about the original movie, so you got to remember George Lucas only directed Star Wars. He didn't direct Return of the Jedi or The Empire Strikes Back. All right, so you got to keep that in mind.
Yeah,
so,
but he produced.
And I know for a fact, Brian, that your favorite one is Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, Strikes Back, definitely.
Okay, so you're sitting here saying that your favorite movie is actually the one that wasn't fully written and was not directed by George Lucas. All right?
But only because the villains won in that movie. And you know how I like the villains.
It's true, but in a sense, the villains...
Here's my thing, guys. I'm about the villains because in my mind, when I watch movies, the villains are the only ones that ever make any sense.
Yeah.
Because they're completely rational. Like you watch the Superman movie. I forget which one it was. And Lex Luthor was making that large landmass. And he was like, everybody can have the Wonder Home and the large yard, and nobody's going to have to be stuck in a little confined space, and everybody can have their dream. And Superman was just like, no, that's a bad idea.
Yeah, that was Superman Returns, by the way.
Yeah,
which is a very good film. I think it gets a lot of bad press because it wasn't what people wanted. Oh, and he also didn't throw a punch the entire movie. I think people were upset about that. But then you have the flip side where Man of Steel comes out and he throws punches and people get pissed off about that.
But I'm just talking about the villain, man. The villain.
But here's my point.
Like, and Star Wars had the best villain. Frickin' Darth Vader. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Like,
And you had to go
awesome.
but you had to go into The Force Awakens realizing that you weren't going to be able to ever top Darth Vader, and I don't think they tried to. I think they went in there and were like, look, we're going to make a different type of villain, not one who is as controlled as Vader was, because Vader was very controlled in many ways. In some ways he wasn't, but, Kylo Ren is unhinged. He has no control. He doesn't know what he wants to do. He's being pulled towards the dark. He wants to be a good guy, but the pull to the dark is so much stronger. And that's the.
You know what they should have did?
It basically.
Here's my thing. Like, you know how George Lucas did, episode, 4 and episode 6 are like mirror images, and then he did it 1 and 3 and
about the Halo ring effect.
And 2 and 5 are like mirror images and the storylines.
You're talking about the ring, the Star Wars ring effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What they should have did, like, you know how in New Hope, how basically the Empire was on the rise or whatever, and they were controlling the thing. They should have made it to where the rebellion pushed the Empire back, and they're this little, an Empire is now a little hodgepodge group like the Rebels, and now the Jedi are like restored, and they're the dominating force in the universe. And it was like a triumph of light over dark, and then through the three films have the dark triumph over the light.
I mean, in a sense, they kind of did that without the Jedi ruling or anything in Episode 7. They kind of did it where there is a new Republic, and this kind of goes with the story that they didn't show it. But the First Order is much smaller than you think. I mean, obviously, it was big enough to create a super weapon, but I think
they're well equipped.
I think there's a bigger story behind.
But maybe I just haven't allowed the story to play out, and I'm just jumping the gun. I don't know.
I think that's the biggest thing, and that's what I was trying to say before. Is when you like Empire Strikes Back so much, how do we know that's not going to happen in Episode 8? How do we know that the villains aren't going to be?
We
the
don't.
in Episode 8?
That's what I'm saying. Like, maybe I'm just jumping the gun here. I don't know.
In my view,
I just expected so much from Episode 7. I don't think I would ever been pleased with it.
I mean, look at it this way: Episodes 1, Episode 4, and Episode 7. All right. It starts off. Each one there is a figure who does not know what their destiny is. We get a character who is, who believes that for instance, Anakin learns that he could be destined for more. You have Luke who wants to go out and do something more with his life, and then you have Rey in Episode 7 who is like, I'm nothing. I'm just a scavenger on Jakku. All right, so you have that. You have them moving.
It's like she had her memory wiped or something.
Well, you have them then move forward.
She doesn't know who she is, but then she remembers she was on a secret mission, or I don't even know.
But they move forward and they save the day. They're the ones who save the day in that movie. So your main protagonist in all three movies basically go through the same thing. So you can sit there and say, oh, it's a rehash. They rehashed Episode 4. Well, technically Episode 1 already rehashed Episode 4. So George Lucas copied himself, so why is it so bad that J.J. Abrams and Lawrence Kasdan copied George Lucas? You then have Episode 2 and Episode 5, which the bad guys win in both episodes. Some people may not see it like that in Episode 2, but it's really true, because the whole plan for Darth Sidious was to get this war started. And at the end of Episode 2, the war had begun. And that was showing that the bad guys have won that movie. And then Episode 3 and Episode 6, Episode 3, the bad guys win again. But you had to do that because you had to have a big redemption in Episode 6. So that's why the bad guys had to win there as well. I mean, they're probably going to take a similar route. I mean, they may go where Episode 8, the bad guys win, and Episode 9, the bad guys win again. Who knows?
You think they're going to have like a whole fleet of Death Stars?
That'd be awesome.
I don't think so. I honestly think that they're not going to have a super weapon. Again, I think it's going to be similar to Episode 5, or similar to Episode 2.
Do you think 9 will be like the ultimate conclusion?
Is what going to be the ultimate conclusion?
Like the ultimate conclusion, like the complete downfall of the Empire?
The Empire is down. There is no Empire right now. In Episode 7, there is no Empire. It's the First Order. It's not the Empire. The Empire is not. There's a new Republic. There's a Republic, but there's no Empire. I don't know. But, I mean, what else don't you like about the movie?
I think that it was rewritten so many times that like it just seemed like Rey, she was protected from her own identity by maybe like some kind of force protection, and it made her forget. Again, and she was put on Jakku, and she's just there, I don't know, scrapping or whatever.
Yeah,
Who knows?
again, I think that goes with what I was trying to say earlier.
And then I think like when they're hugging, like her and Princess Leia is like a mother-daughter experience, but she doesn't remember who she was, and leading off of that, it's like why are they all these people, like all these characters, emotionally bonded, and they don't even know who they are.
Well,
and Finn, he was like this traumatized stormtrooper. Like they could have made him so much better, and now he's just like some pussified asshole. Sorry, pussified.
Wow,
a sissy jerk.
language.
All right.
Well, here, look.
And what they could have did, they could have made the stormtrooper, because they were such bad shots, and they would just, and maybe they didn't want to redo the cloning thing because maybe they lost the DNA of the original Ultimate Soldier. So instead of doing the clone thing, they would insert a chip into the stormtrooper's head, and it controlled their movements and their thoughts. And maybe Finn, his during the fighting in the original village, and he was just like the ultimate badass, and he was gunning down people and being like a bloodthirsty killer, and he gets smacked on the head and his chip malfunctions, and then he snaps out of it, and he realizes what he's doing, and that's why he's traumatized and doesn't want to do anything.
Well, a couple things.
They could have made his character so much better.
Okay, I got a few things here. Hopefully I can remember some of these here. I should have written them down as we were going and rambling. One, I think the problem with this story where you're talking about Rey not knowing who she was, not remembering people, not knowing people, blah, 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 this and that, I think that's a product of J.J. Abrams. Again, he's so big on mystery. When everything he does, there has to be a mystery. I mean, you take a look at the TV show Lost. You take a look at even the Star Trek films. There was mystery behind both of those films that he made and directed. So I think that's a product of him. There has to be mystery there for some reason. And
poor writing.
I don't think it's poor writing. I think it's just they handled it. They didn't.
I got a rag on him, man.
I know, he's getting so mad.
I don't think they handled it properly. That is my biggest problem with the movie. And if anybody knows me, I'm huge with cliffhangers. I love cliffhangers. I'll take a good cliffhanger. I'll take a good cliffhanger over anything in a movie any day. They just didn't really leave a good cliffhanger in The Force Awakens, and yet it seems like that's what they were trying to push the entire movie. Is
time issues too. I think they should have gave it a lot more time. It's like the return of Star Wars, man. Like, give it more time. I think they
already gave it enough time, though.
Yeah, it was an hour and a half long.
They could have made it 2.5 hours, and people would have sat happily.
Oh, I absolutely would have.
Pouring in, allowing it to pour in through their eyes and into their brain and into their very being, like, yeah, Star Wars.
Another point that you were talking about the stormtroopers and how, maybe they should have done this, should have done that. Well, they kind of did that in Star Wars lore already with the clones and putting a chip into their brain. You wouldn't have known this if you just watched the movies. If you watched the cartoon, the Clone Wars that was on Cartoon Network, there was an episode where it made
they run into the old guys.
Well, there was, I think, either just one episode or there was an arc where one of the chips in their head malfunctioned, and
Order 66. They removed the chips.
Well, Order 66. Which was implanted in their brain. It malfunctioned in this clone trooper's head, and he killed a Jedi. But he didn't know why. He didn't understand what was going on. So that was kind of already done, and again, you're not...
Well, it would have been ready-made. It would have been like shake and bake. They just have chips in their head.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even have to explain it.
But,
shake and bake.
You shake, I'll bake.
Hey now.
I think...
You bake, I shake.
With Finn, I think he was a good character. I don't think that they pussyfooted him, as you said. I think they
made him into a sissy jerk. Kids are watching.
I think that
this episode is rated R.
I think they made him a very strong character. Somebody who I think that people...
They could have made him completely badass. So badass.
They kind of did. I mean, they showed that he's not afraid.
He was like the only
Sitting there
black
saying
guy in
he's
the
a
movie,
sissy, but
too. They could have made him so much better.
He's not a sissy at all. I mean, on the fight at Maz Kanata's castle, I mean, he's like, I need a weapon, and Maz Kanata's like, here, you have this lightsaber, use this. And he just goes out and fucking does it. He stands up against Kylo Ren. He knows he's going to lose. He knows he's going to get his ass kicked. But he still stands up to him.
Yeah.
You know, so he's not a
He should have got his ass kicked.
He did get his ass kicked.
Yeah, he's still like, he's supposed to, like, Kylo Ren's like trained with a lightsaber. He knows how to handle it.
But you also have to realize that how cocky Kylo Ren is, he was probably screwing with him. He wasn't sitting there like, oh, I gotta get serious with him. He knew that he could screw with him and still win. So once Finn got that one hit on him, he's like, okay, enough's enough, and that's whenever he finally was like, he put him down for the count. So,
don't you think Kylo Ren has something to prove?
Yeah, I think
he's got to live up to Darth Vader, that legend, his grandfather.
He says that in the movie.
What he'd be ruthless.
Well, he doesn't say it, but Rey
ruthless. You know, when he just like cut people down the best he could and the fastest he could.
I don't know. I think he's trying to get control of himself. I think that's the whole thing.
Unless he has a lot of his father in him. If his father is Han Solo.
His father is Han Solo.
I got my own theory about that too. Do you want me to destroy that for the listeners too?
Go for it. What is your theory on Kylo Ren?
All right. Let him take your children out of the room right now.
You know what? I haven't even seen the newest Star Wars yet. I am having so much crap spoiled for me right now.
But here's my theory, okay?
Oh, we're definitely going to have to put a spoilers notification at the beginning of this.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
But here's what I think should have been, right? So, you got Rey and Ben Solo, right?
Okay.
And Princess Leia has twins. And Han Solo's out smuggling again. So here, I'm thinking that Ben and Rey are actually Leia and Luke's children.
Oh, jeez.
And the reason she cried on Endor, it wasn't because Darth Vader, was her father and that was revealed to her by Luke. It was because she was pregnant with Luke's children.
Oh,
that's my theory.
That's so wrong.
Yes, that isn't right.
I know. I don't think they're going to do that.
No, they're not going to.
It's a theory that makes no sense and is unwarranted because Ben.
No, because it has everything to do with like mythology and how the son comes from the mother and then the son becomes the mother's lover. It's like about being birthed from the sacred feminine and then returning to the sacred feminine.
I think that you're looking for reasons to be
because it's all mythology. It's all based off of ancient lore and myth.
I mean,
the whole thing of Star Wars. That's what George Lucas was doing. He was doing the hero's journey and like everything. All those old ancient myths, he turned it into a space opera.
Yeah. Look, when it comes to Episode 7, we know that the whole journey is based on Rey. We know we're certain. It is no doubt Ben or Kylo Ren is Han Solo and Princess Leia's son. The question is, who is Rey's or who's not children? Who are Rey's parents? That's the question. You can't. I mean, if you have a theory on Rey, go for it. But there's no theory to be had on Ben because we know. I mean, it's factual. It's Han and Leia.
Man, she used Han Solo as a sugar daddy and lied to him so he would stick around and raise the children.
Jeez.
No.
Sounds like Fayette County all over.
Now, I do have one other complaint with the movie, because I did say I had just the one, but there's actually two. My other complaint with the movie is how quickly they revealed who Kylo Ren's father was. It just seemed like it was just they had to, like, J.J. Abrams just wanted it out there as quick as he could. Like, I got to get this out there. Again, I think it's because he focused so much on wanting to get that cliffhanger ending that wasn't there, but he wanted to get to that so bad, and he wanted people to only worry about Rey, that's why he revealed that Han Solo was Kylo Ren's father so quickly. And it was kind of a disappointing time, and it was expected. Like, whenever, Supreme Leader Snoke, he goes...
The only real cliffhangers in this movie are, as you were saying, who are Rey's parents and who is Snoke.
Exactly.
That's it.
But Snoke, when he sits there and goes, the Millennium Falcon is in the hands of, your father, Han Solo. It's just like, why did we learn that way? Like, that was just a terrible way to learn that. Like, it wasn't impactful. It wasn't shocking.
They should have did a Darth Vader and Luke in Cloud City deal on the walkway.
I think that's what they should have done, because I think what would have been
and it should have came out of Ben's mouth. You are my father, instead of I am your father. You are my father.
I think that should have been
did
cool.
something like that.
I think that could have been cool. I think that
It would have been so much better.
Yeah.
And it was just them.
Leaving the reveal for that.
Completely separated from some kind of battle going on.
Absolutely.
Just like Cloud City. And they got separated and they were having their duel. And maybe Han Solo's using his pistol trying to shoot him. And he's deflecting all the stuff with his lightsaber, being a total badass. And then
and maybe make it where...
he cuts his hand. He cuts Han Solo's hand off so he can't use the gun. And then, you were my father! You betrayed me!
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, what do you mean he betrayed you? And then he sticks the lightsaber right through his heart. Like, it could have been so much better. Like,
I think, yeah, I mean...
I think Hollywood. I'm giving you the boot.
You're making good ideas here. I mean, definitely, you're in the right direction for what they could have done there. And I think it would have been even better if they didn't know that Kylo Ren was their son. I think that would have been like a huge reveal for them as well. I think it would have been
he could have pulled the mask off. You were my father.
They could have believed that maybe they believed he was dead or something like that.
Then Han Solo could have made a bad face like Luke did. No.
But again, like I said, I think really, when I really sit here and think about it, those are probably the two biggest issues I have with the film.
But even if they did do that, I probably would still hate it because, I don't know, I'm just a critic. I don't know.
You're just a critic.
I'm just a critic.
I don't know. We're definitely going to have to sit down, though, do an episode of On the Couch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just...
Mystery Science 3000 stuff.
Just sit here and do commentary on the film. So I'm down for that whenever you guys are.
Yeah, I would just need to watch the movie first before we do that. So that
obviously. I don't know why you're on this episode if you haven't watched the film. But
ruin it for you on your first
I
time.
just wanted to hear the spoilers.
Oh, jeez.
I like spoilers.
Oh, boy.
I do like spoilers.
Okay, now, I don't care. I don't care what you say, Brian, for how much you hate the movie. I still tear up.
Parts that I like about it. I like the characters and stuff.
Spoiler warning.
I like the potential that it could have been. And
I like the part, not only do I like the part, but I tear up when Han Solo is killed. And not because he's killed. It's not the moment where the lightsaber goes into him. It's not the moment where you hear Rey go, no! What gets me is Chewbacca's roar. That is what gets me. When he goes, when he realizes that Han Solo was killed,
in episode 5.
When they noticed that Han was killed,
plan on doing.
And then for him to pick up his bowcaster and point it at Kylo Ren and take a shot at him, I mean, just think about it. Chewbacca probably helped raise this kid. Okay, probably from the time he was a baby, he probably changed his diapers, and now he watches him kill his best friend, and then he
waves out of his fur.
I mean, it's just, it's heartbreaking. Like, Chewbacca, I didn't think would ever make me feel like that. I cried in the theater because of it, and it was because of Chewbacca. So,
you cried in the theater?
I did.
What a baby.
I'm an emotional guy. I can't help it. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I cried too during some movies in the theater.
But I don't know. We're definitely going to get together, do a commentary on the film. So we'll definitely do that. So definitely...
I don't know if we're going to get sued doing that or what. But
no, we won't.
Anyway.
There's other people that do.
You can sue me all you want. I don't have any money.
I mean, a lot of people do reactions. Like one of the YouTubers I watch, she does her reaction to Sailor Moon Crystal every week, and like it just, she shows parts of the movie or the episode, I should say, and she's reacting to it.
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, you love anime. I think
I love anime.
Play on anime stuff. That would be awesome.
Anyway, so
future episodes to pique your interest, viewers.
Yes, and definitely check back for more when it comes to common sense and entertainment.
And the Far Side.
I was Robert Slavinsky.
Bobby, I am your podcast buddy.
Oh, God.
Everybody have a good night. Hey everyone, Robert here. If you like what you just heard today, make sure you click that subscribe button right down at the bottom right there. If you do, that's just one less golden ticket Jesus has to sell behind the KFC. See you.